3, 2, 1.
We are so live.
We
What's
are.
up to all our warriors out there? This is getting complicated, baby, because this is one thing.
I'm not.
This is a different
Yeah,
thing.
you switched it up,
Yeah.
and I don't know where to look first.
All right. Well, I
Or
would
who to look
suggest pick one. So we're live on our YouTube channel. If
Yeah.
you haven't subscribed to our YouTube, check it out because that's where all the microphones and all the things are all set up. But also Warrior Wednesday, we are live. So hit all the likes, hit all the shares. Let's get some people going. And we are going to talk about some stuff that we talk about. And then we're going to interact with you and talk about stuff you want to talk
And then
about.
we're going to talk about you.
And we're going to talk all about you and all your favorite thing. Look at Steve McCraw. What's up? Look at this guy. Yeah, I actually loved hanging out with Steve when he was on our show. So
Yeah.
that guy's a warrior. Got my respect, man. That guy really does
It's
go to hell
awesome.
for his people. Thank you for sharing, Danielle. Good to see you.
Yeah. Hi, Danielle.
So, what are we doing, Warrior Wednesday, baby? What are
Yeah.
we doing?
We answer questions usually. And
Do you answer in the microphone?
I do. I'm sure everybody can hear me because I tend to be a little loud. So we do that. We also answer questions live, or sometimes we just pick a topic and we talk about it. So
yeah, I got to go one, Steve. I got to go one for you. Actually, let's have some fun with this thing. Is there a way for me to do that? I wonder, Steve. I wonder if we could get you to jump on with us. I wonder if we can. But we are going to talk today. Ooh, does this work? Let's go.
It looks like it's connecting.
Maybe it does.
There he is.
What's up, Steve McCraw?
Hi, Steve. Yeah, nothing like.
Well, we got something cool. So we just did a video recently, and the video was about what it takes to be a leader, especially as a man being a leader. And my baby, she's going through her journey, and she's like, if I really do the inventory on how much it takes to be a leader, she's like, damn, that's like a lot that gets put on you guys. Yeah. And so if somebody says, as a guy having to be the leader, and what I mean is a good, authentic leader, not just a title, not just a name tag, not power, but real, true leadership. What are some of the takes and responsibilities that you can see from your point of view as you also run a group of men?
Oh, man, I think, wow. I think you and I talked a little bit about this, but I think humility. I really do. I think you need to take wise counsel. You need to surround yourself with some guys that are humble as well, that also want to see your best interest at heart. And I think you really need to listen. You need to listen. You are not always right. Trust me. I have been down this road where you want to be a dictator and you want to say, no, we're doing it my way. And then I have to come back and go, yeah, I was wrong. I should have been patient. I should have listened to both sides of the story. And I think really it takes you stepping out of your comfort zone of trying to control everything and actually rely on the people that you've built up around you to protect you. And you'll find out over time. And we talked about this, about the ones that are just around because of your name, they will weed themselves out real quick. Mm-hmm. They will weed themselves out real quick. So I think humility and also discernment. Discernment, actually taking time to analyze what's going on. I think it was Harry Truman had a habit of, if he was mad at somebody, he would write a letter and he would put it in his desk drawer. And if he still felt the same way 24 hours later, he would send the letter. And I think a lot of times what happened in his presidency is he ended up with a desk full of letters.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
I think
good.
Sometimes our mouth gets in the way sometimes. And so it's all right to get mad about things, but hold off for a second. You never approach a situation angry because it always comes back to bite you. So I think discernment, humility, and also controlling your emotions in the middle of an argument or something you're dealing with. I think it's important those are important characteristics of a good leader.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned control your emotions as a really big trait. And this is one of the things where we see today, I would even argue, weak leaders, not just men or women, just weak leaders tend to be a lot more impulsively emotional with their decision making. And so this isn't even to be sexist. This just goes the higher the emotion, the lower the rationale. And this goes even in negotiation tactics. The more emotional somebody is, the more likely they're going to make a rash or a brash decision that does cost in some way, shape, or form in a negative way. What do you think?
Listen, I'm a dude, but I get passionate about stuff. I
Mhm.
get fired up, and if I let it get the best of me, then I usually end up making poor decisions.
Yeah. That's where the regret comes in, which is tough lessons because generally when we have some sort of outburst that we lost control on, there's a price tag to it. And wisdom usually comes from doing things the hard way or from loss. And so we'll learn from our losses because we're like, oh, I'm gonna handle this with a hammer. I'm gonna go hard. When sometimes you probably should have just listened.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
I'll take relationships for example. You guys never fight. I can tell. You guys are perfect. Right?
Never.
even-
How did you even know?
I've never even thought about fighting with her. Why would we do that?
But there's many times in my relationship I've had to come back and say, "I'm sorry, baby.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have." And you're right. It's either humble yourself now or humble yourself later. And it's always better to humble yourself first and to approach the situation the right way first, because it sucks coming back and going, "I'm sorry, baby. I don't know what I was thinking. You're right. Maybe I'm right about the situation, but my tone, the way I released my message was way off base."
Mhm.
And
That's good.
I think we as men can actually have stronger relationships if we would just take a step back and go, you know what? If you got to go take a drive, go take a drive. If you got to go out to the shop, throw some stuff around, go do that, and then come back in and go, "Hey, baby, you know how much I love you. Okay, this is what I'm dealing with right now." So
Yeah.
I mean, I think controlling your emotions is huge, especially in a relationship or in a leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is where the being able to compartmentalize some of those things and being able to take a second and having, even like you said, the discernment to know when to take a second.
Yeah.
We've had to make agreements too where we can tell when the triggers are starting up and we're like,
Mhm.
oh, we know it's coming, where we'll take our 5 minutes. Like
Yeah.
we got to take 5. Like I got to walk away from this. We'll come back and come meet, and I'll go to the weight room. Or we talked to Dwayne Knoll, and Dwayne was like, I'll go chop wood. I'm not saying I'm not talking to you. Just come to me when you're ready to talk, but I'm going to go
Yeah.
chop wood, or I'm going to go work with the horse, and those things where you go like,
Yeah.
let me just take a minute. I'm going to get away. I didn't say I'll never talk to you, but I'm going to cool down and
Yeah.
then come and talk to me when you can.
I think too.
What's funny too is it really takes open communication, and that's one of the topics we're going to be talking about this week is communication. I think it's key. I can't expect my guys to understand what I want them to do without me communicating, and they can't expect me to know what's going on without them communicating. Guys, we tend to suck at communication, right?
I'm going to argue. I'll argue on that one, Steve. Here's the thing. Whenever I hear people say people aren't communicating, I don't agree. I think everyone's communicating, just not the way I like it.
Not verbally.
Well, even if it is
The
verbally.
communication could be with the eye rolls or the huh,
Mhm.
or the
Well, those still, the nonverbals matter. Those are heavy because even if I go and flip somebody off, I didn't say a word, but it's still the nonverbal mattered.
It's still the emotion behind it.
And
Yeah,
so,
but one thing, especially in a relationship, this also goes with leadership. I think our relationships show what kind of leadership qualities we do possess. But one thing is being open with what does trigger you up front. Say, listen, this is something I've dealt with in the past. If you come at me this way, I'm going to have to say, hey, that's a warning. And my beautiful, lovely lady, Sarah, she says it best. She says, you can't do better unless you know better, which means that opens the door for her to tell me about things that are going to set her off. You can't do better unless you know better. But once you know better, you better do better.
yeah,
Mhm.
the choice is now on the table.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that when I look at how, because I've worked with both men and women, everyone's communicating. I just don't think everyone's listening.
Mhm.
And then
Or-
a lot of times too, you'll see like, well, he's not emotionally intelligent because he doesn't
But-
just share his feelings with me. And you're like, hold on, was it always like this? Well, no, when we started, he used to share everything. And I'm like, maybe you trained him you're not safe to share with. And this is where you see people who have had their emotional reactions to somebody sharing a truth or the truth, and they didn't like it. And so they'll have an emotional reaction about the truth, showing if I share the truth with you, now I have to deal with your emotions and irrational behavior, which now makes it so whatever the thing I needed to work on won't get worked on because now I have to calm you down. And this is one of those things where I've seen that as a high pattern in relationships, that the guy did go, well, I want to share something with you, babe. I'm having a really tough day, or I'm getting sued from this person at work, or this thing went really wrong and we just lost that job. And so now we're going to be set back for 2 months. And instead of going like, baby, your heart's important to me, how can I be there for you? They go like, so what are we going to do? We're just going to have to do this. I guess I have to pick up a shift now. I guess I'm just going to do this, and I'm supposed to take care of everything now. And what am I supposed to do with this? And you're like, baby, hold on. This is my weight to bear. What are you doing? And then that guy will realize that if he shares his burden, she panics, freaks out. Now I got to calm my baby down. I got to calm her down. And now that she's finally calmed down, the thing I was worried about can never be brought back. It can't be brought back up because I have to calm her down. So she has shown me I got to calm her down if I share something that's going on with me. And then she says, I'm a bad communicator. Well, am I, or are we?
Yeah.
I think it goes as we. I truly do.
Yeah.
It's the approach. I just had, just this last week, I just had to add another admin guy to our ministry. And although there were so many different guys that I could say, yes, this guy has the best qualities. He's been around. He's shown this and show this. One of the deciding factors is he going to be able to communicate in an orderly manner? Is he going to let his emotions get the best of him in a difficult situation? You really have to put some stock in that and watch people. And I hate to say that, but sometimes you've got to watch how they react to different things. Is he going to go tell somebody something that should be discussed in private?
Yeah.
Those type of things. Even though you've got all these other qualities, communication, that's a kicker right there.
Yeah, it's
a lot of that. Well, Steve said no.
That's true. Right.
Did you die? Because you're about to.
You're about to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I really noticed though is the more years that we've been doing this, I think it's a lot less about people are talking and a lot more that people don't listen. I think people wait to talk more than they actually listen to understand.
They listen just enough to correlate an idea or a thought about how they're going to respond to you.
Yep.
Or react to you.
Absolutely. And I think that can come with adding. I know I'm guilty of this sometimes. Like he'll say something and I'll add whatever I can relate to in my mind. And then he's like, that's not what I said. If you wrote down exactly what I said, then you would understand where I'm saying. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm already there. That's what you said. And then it takes me a moment to be like, okay, hold on a second. Let me control my emotions and really listen. What exactly are you saying without adding anything to it? That's a skill in itself. It's not easy to do.
You get that tunnel vision.
Yeah.
You get to where
yeah.
Like, oh, I just picked up on a phrase or one word.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I'm zoned in on that, and that's all I can think about. And it doesn't matter what he said. I'm going to let him have it as soon as he gets done talking because that's all I'm focused on.
Yeah, it is. And it could be tone. It could be just random things. And it's like, that's all I heard. And he's like, no, that was only part of the story. That
well, that's
honestly,
that's where you can see where people got stopped. If I was
100%.
I'm like, Steve, no, that was so stupid. You're an idiot. Let me tell you what it really is.
No.
And everything that I say after you're an idiot is already mute.
Sure.
You're like, I'm an idiot? Did you say, oh.
100%. Yeah.
So I've seen oftentimes too when someone's like, oh my God, you're so stupid. No, the answer is, and you lost me at stupid.
100%.
You lost me as soon as you made a judgment, and as soon as you said a name. Anything after this is already deleted.
Yep.
I've had some guys that really say some off the wall stuff, and I'll start chuckling and look at them and go, you're an idiot. I'm saying that because now I'm sitting there like, wait, am I really an idiot? Is he joking with me? Is he being serious right now? I can't tell.
Yeah.
But when I start laughing, I go, "You're an idiot." I don't actually mean you're an idiot. I
Right.
just think you're what just come out of your mouth right now?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it depends on the emoji you put with it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm the world's worst. One thing, I have deleted people's entire chat because they gave me one of these.
Oh yeah, this is it. That's the line for you. That's the line.
That's the one.
That's the line.
I don't like that. I don't like that either.
I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but yeah.
I know. I
There's
know.
so many different emojis out there. That one just it's almost like, okay, dude,
Mhm.
whatever you say, dude. And you're like,
Uh-huh.
watch this. And I've had to go back and repent and apologize because I was like, no, I'm in control here. Watch this. Whole room, whole chat is gone. Don't ever give me one. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like actions that were just, it wasn't your fault. I just was stimulated with everything else going on. And I tell you what, it is very humbling when you as a leader have to go back and go, well, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sitting here trying to lead by example, and that was wrong on my part.
Yeah.
It really sucked to have to go back and make those calls. So that's why I say humble yourself first. Take a minute, breathe. Go, okay. Do they know I don't like this, or are they just pushing my buttons right now?
Yeah.
Well, I also see you also taking a high level of accountability and responsibility to even go back with your humility. And this is another trait of a leader is that I've noticed even in our organization, I think you've done the same, that if the plan works, great job, everybody. Everyone did a really good job. The team is so strong. Great job. And if it all went wrong, you're like, well, looks like my plan didn't work. I think we're going to have to get back to the drawing board. That's on me. Let's go ahead and start a new way, and let's team up a little bit better for us to work. But that one's mine. And you're like, damn. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a big burden of leadership too, is where like, if it works, great job, everybody. If it doesn't work, my bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Honey Badger asked if I'm related to Tim. Yes, that is my little brother, but my name is spelled MCCR, not MCGR. I do have a little brother named Tim McGraw. That's my little brother, actually. So yes,
That's awesome.
I used to mess with people all the time. They would come in and go, "Are you related to Tim?" Yeah, that's my little brother. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You got the last name wrong, but yes, my little brother's name is Tim.
Yeah, he's super sweet. He doesn't play music at all, but he's very, very nice.
He used to play with System of the Down.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, guys, I got to get out of here. Like I said, I got a question and answer session I got going.
Yeah.
on
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you
jumping
again,
on.
All right.
Have a good night.
Later. See ya. That was fun.
So I can get out of here. Watch this.
Just hit buttons, man. You got this. Just hammer buttons.
Hit the thumbs up.
I got
Nice.
Oh, nice. That was good. That was a good conversation. I know we just did a video on this yesterday, just like you said. I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, we talked about the burden of leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talked about burden of leadership. And when you were looking at what does it look like to just take on all of the burdens of leadership and just leave it all on you. And I'll give you a little bit of praise too, because you felt like you had to run this role on your own before there was a solid you and me. You felt like before this and growing up, you had to take on the burden of all of it.
Yeah. And during that process, I never really gave it much thought. Like, okay, I need to make sure things are done financially. I need to make sure my kids are where they need to be. They have everything provided for, groceries, everything, schooling, everything. A lot of things were on me. And I never even as a mom thought about the process or what it took to get there. I just knew that it's something that I had to do because I couldn't rely on anybody else to do it. And so yesterday when I'm sitting in my chair, I was like, first of all, that my own personal thought came after the fact. But one thing that Rick does in the morning we do together is we meditate together on most mornings. Something newer for us that as I'm going through my spiritual journey is, and hopefully I don't cry because every time I talk about it, it makes me cry.
Oh,
So
you're gonna get you already. We're just starting.
we just started. So in the morning after we're done with meditating, like he prays for me and with me. And if whatever if you are a believer in God and you guys are not praying for each other or your man is not leading you spiritually, it is the most beautiful thing I have ever experienced in my life, hands down. So not only that alone is so powerful to have a man, to have your partner lead you spiritually is that in itself, that category is so huge. And for me right now, where I'm at in my journey is the most important thing for me. Like, that's really what warms my heart. That's huge. Now you add in leading with finances, right? Leading with making sure everybody's in this house, all of us girls are kept safe. We're secure, like everybody's safe, everybody's good, no one's in harm's way. And then you add in the point of like all of us having our emotional outburst, but you're able to stay stoic in those moments. That part right there with spiritual is like, how do you even do it? And does he lose his shit sometimes? Sometimes, of course, we're all human. But for the most part, he stays pretty much like, I can see you're having a moment. I got you. I love you. We're good. And everything in me is like, just by him saying that, I'm like, I'm good. Like, I feel good. It goes the same way as leading with holding his boundaries. And so if I'm pushing on his boundaries and he says, I'm not going there with you, and he's like, stop, that's not good for us. It's important for me to pull back. And I do need someone like that because I can tend to push in moments. And having him hold that strong boundary is so important, I think, as women. And for me to say that, you guys, I never thought I'd say that ever. It's so important because it shows me that he's got us, not just him, but he's got us. And I can follow that because that's to me what a strong leader looks like.
Yeah, but I don't like, it's one of those things where the boundaries are tough. A lot of the guys and women holding boundaries is hard.
Mhm.
And it's not about making a demand to tell you what you can and can't do. It's about what I will and will not allow, like past certain lines. We're like, hey, there's a thing that happens. I don't want to do that, but please don't. So people do not like when you put a boundary down. And the people who hate it the most are the ones who got away with the most when you
Yeah.
didn't have them. It's important to know that the people who do not like your boundaries are the ones who got away with the most when you didn't have them.
Yep.
And so as soon as you start going like, I don't think I'm going to overcommit, or I don't think I'm going to people please to a point where I'm not myself anymore. And I don't think that I'm going to burn myself out for the people who are ungrateful. And I don't think I'm going to enable bad behavior by continuing to give rewards for people taking advantage of me. Maybe I'm going to stop doing that. And the people who take advantage of you the most will not enjoy you making boundaries.
Mm-mm.
And so there's a point where we'll get in and she'll be pushing for something. And I say, baby, I love you, but I'm not doing that. It's not good for us. I'm not going to overcommit us. I'm not going to put us in harm's way. And I'm not going to go a direction that we've done that I know is not going to work for us. We've done it enough times. So I'm not going to repeat a mistake again. What was the point of the mistake was to learn. I
Mhm.
already learned from that mistake. So because I have a more clear mind, I don't, like he said, I don't run from an emotional standpoint often. And so I'm going to see it more clear. I'm like, we've taken this road before. And now she may have a feeling. Her feeling will say, I want to take that road again. And I'm like, we know that if we turn down that road, I know where it goes. We've gone that way before, but I feel like it. And that's where I go, baby, I'm not going that way.
Mhm.
If you want to go down that road, go by yourself. It ends up in the middle of the
Yep.
lake again and costs us another vehicle. I'm not doing it. I'm going to stay on track. But if you look where I want us to go, your feelings are taken in consideration.
Yeah.
I care about you and you are safe and secure. It is in the best interest of the family. And I want to get there also without anybody injured, upset, or mad.
Mhm.
Will you look where I'm trying to
Yep.
take us? You are taken into consideration with the plan.
Yeah. And it's that specific phrase of what is the intention? I think looking back on past relationships, even when we were first together, I didn't understand the intention. The intention didn't feel good to me. I was like, this feels maybe selfish, or, this doesn't feel like it's in our best intention, because I didn't even know what the intention was. I was just like spinning out of control because many different reasons, but knowing that we are a team. And when he says, I have our back, this is our best intention, not mine, it calms me down and makes me back off to be like, okay, he's got us. And that feeling for a woman is especially for my personality, because I can have a very strong personality, is so needed. And I never felt what like that safety feels like. I would fight it hard, but now I have it. I'm like, how can you not want this? Like, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Thank you,
So,
baby.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the burden of leadership is difficult, but I think if you're not practicing stoicism and you're
Mhm.
not practicing how to stay centered, and you don't know thyself well enough to hold a boundary, and you take everything is personal, and you get you're triggered easily,
Mhm.
whether it be like angry and yell and scream and force compliance, or shut down and make yourself small and freeze up, or run away or suppress or hide, or if it gets into some sort of bargaining system where you try to compromise yourself to limit the damage that's going to happen to others. When you get triggered in some sort of a control mechanism, that generally shows that you probably aren't in a leadership mindset. And
Yeah.
this is both men and women. And so if somebody is pushing buttons and I don't know myself well enough to hold my line, odds are whoever is triggered just lost. They just lost.
Mhm.
You lost.
Yeah.
You lost for the team. Yeah, this is where I call it losing your attitude. We used to call it door to door. If somebody
Yeah.
was knocking door to door and you had a door slammed in your face, and from that moment you're like, oh, I'm so angry. Like if you're angry, well, the next person you knock on their door, they could be the sweetest person in
Yeah.
the world. But instead of going like, hey, good afternoon, I got something for you, and you're gonna
Mhm.
go, hey, buy this. I hate you. And they go, I don't want it, because your energy and your attitude is
Yeah.
lost. You just lost your attitude. And so if she says something and I get triggered and I start getting angry and she starts getting defensive, we lost.
Mhm.
We lost. We lost control.
Yeah.
So now we've gotten to a point where it's a lot more rare that anything like that'll ever happen.
Right.
But it's gonna have to be one of those like the ice moon or whatever the hell, that full moon that made every woman in our groups go crazy. Whatever that thing is, if there's some sort of Schumann's
The Schumann resonance.
resonance
Yeah.
or something where the energy in the world just went nuts, and all of a sudden reason just went out the window, and you're going, hey, what's going on? And everything is everyone's faults, and you did this and you did that, and no one does this, and everything's happening to me, and you're going, what the
What is happening?
hell is
Yeah.
going on? We
Yeah.
had, again, I know when something is going on because we have 5 of these things and they just start doing, you girls just do weird stuff. Yeah, Venus is in Gatorade again.
That's funny. Yeah. But and I also, want to say too, if there is a man like yourself, right, that is leading in these aspects of your life, or at least trying to, there is a conversation of then what does that look like for the woman that is also having this guy be her leader? How do you then treat that guy? And I will tell you, if you really think about that, the heaviness of what it takes, if you have a guy that's trying to be a leader, working on himself, that's trying to, his intention is to be a strong leader for your family, for your kids, or for you, it's really important that you understand what that heaviness looks like. You can't just think about it, maybe even write about it, because it is very, very heavy. That's a heavy task to think on. Can you imagine? And I can, because I've been in this position and it is heavy, but having everything on your shoulders, and you're responsible for when things go well, which is always the fun part, but you're also responsible for when the things don't go right. That's a heavy burden. What?
Well, here's my thought
Yeah.
process. What you just said is a really great challenge. It's a good practice. Like,
Mhm.
write out, what do you believe it takes to be a leader, and what does it take for the burden of leadership, for all the responsibility, all the
Mhm.
accountability, all of it.
Yeah.
I would like to see how many of the women in here actually take up your challenge.
Yeah.
Here's my bet. I'm going to challenge all of you ladies. Make me wrong. Show up next week or even message us directly
Yeah.
and say, I really did the challenge. I wrote down the burden of leadership. What does it take to be a safe place? And what that would mean if I
Mhm.
have to do that
Mhm.
all on my own, how
Yeah.
overwhelming that would be. My guess is none of you do it.
No. And Danny, I know that your comment said, but haven't we already felt this heaviness when we didn't have that? And this is what I will tell you. If you ask me, were the things I was doing heavy? They were. Did I stop and think about every little detail I was doing? No, because I was like in survival mode. What I can tell you though is there were aspects of having a guy as a leader versus a woman as a leader. Our emotions go up and down. For me spiritually, like I wasn't thinking about it. Like I knew my belief, but I wasn't practicing. I wasn't like looking for that. I just wasn't. Financially, I was good. On paper, it looked good. Emotionally, I was a freaking mess, right? Like when it came down to it, when I stopped long enough and had to deal with my own emotions, I wasn't good. I wasn't safe. I didn't feel secure. But I kept too busy to understand where I was at in any of that process. So I think we do feel the heaviness, but when it's done correctly, if someone can provide that for you correctly, that's where the heaviness comes from. Because the heaviness I was carrying before was nothing but chaos. It was controlled chaos. That's what it was. So, did I feel the heaviness? Yeah, because as a woman, I don't think that we're made to handle all of that by ourselves. We're just not. And clearly it doesn't work. I was falling apart, but on the outside, I think people would be like, she's got it together. And I'm like, I literally do not. Like, I don't feel that way. So,
Yeah. Let's see. Hey, Carrie Kicks, you're asking good questions. Carrie, do you have more than 1,000 followers on this? Because if so, I want to hear your thing live because this is actually probably a really good conversation for us. I've been seeing this a lot, and actually the individual therapy is killing relationships far more than it's helping. All right, dang it. I was hoping that you could come on live with us because I would like to hear your story or hear your thing. I can share the patterns that I've been seeing over and over again. Now, I have both men's and women's groups, but I work primarily on the men's side. And so I can share what it's like on the other side. I can also share the patterns of working with hundreds and hundreds of people of what it looks like when I do the deep work for the sentence. One person is further in the process and emotional intelligent. Usually, it's not as true as you want it to be because that's a subjective point of view. Generally, the person who's not sharing as much is because they were trained not to, which is also a sign of emotional intelligence to say, I'm not going to put it out there. You showed me that's not safe. So a lot of times whenever I'm working with people who say, I'm the emotionally intelligent one because I share my emotions more, that generally shows a lack of restraint that we want to give ourselves, like I'm the winner, when the other person has a sign of emotional intelligence saying, if I share with you, it's just not good. And so I'm going to hold back those emotions because if I share with you, you're not a safe place to share with. Now, if you were a safe place, and I'll tell you why I say this, the guys share more than you'd ever imagine. The reason I know this is because when I'm working with my men in our group setting of a large group of men, the most empathy these guys have ever experienced in their life comes from brothers. They actually listen and care about his heart, not his well-being. Is that man okay? And we can do that as man to man. If a guy comes in and goes, dude, my whole life is upside down, we can go, brother, I'm with you on this one. What's going on with my guy? Are you okay? What are you going through? I want to hear how do you feel? And I'm not getting into like, oh, so what are we supposed to do about it? So what am I supposed to do? Are we going to be okay? Well, who's going to take care of the bills then? Oh, so do I have to do something about it? That's not emotional intelligence. If you're not able to show an empathy for your man at all, I'm not said well-being, not did you fix something, did you like a sandwich or they do the laundry or clean something up or made dinner. None of those are an emotion. Those are all tasks. How is your heart, hun? And if he has to share something with you, and you can't be open to receive without judgment, without shame, without reacting about what about my feelings, you may not be able to give yourself the A+ yet.
Yeah.
This is where I see things go way off the rails, is because people go, because I share more emotions means I'm more emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
Not sharing with an unsafe person is also emotional intelligence. And so this is where maybe it's the truth is you're not as safe to talk to as you may think, because you may use more blame, shame, and judgment instead of listening for authenticity, for empathy for your man's heart. And is he really okay without me getting into some sort of a defensive posture? Odds are, if I really look at the entire relationship, you both have trained each other how to speak to each other.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some sort of like, we taught each other how to be this way, because at one point you both weren't this way. And that's why you chose to be together. So something went wrong. I would venture to say, if you were both listening truly to understand with an open heart, you both don't need to have the individual therapy and couples therapy at the same time. In fact, I think the individual therapy is probably going to cause a little bit of issue at the moment, especially with today's therapists. They do a lot more diagnosing and then pushing agenda than they do deep work. So it's going to be validating emotions and then pushing deeper into the problems instead of trying to get to the core so I don't have to work with you anymore. And so when I work with couples, it's really about, I don't want to see you forever. Let's get the core ripped out, give you new tools and training, and then you don't have to see me anymore.
Yeah. Carrie, can I ask you a question? This is her comment. Our therapist says he is not as far in the process and has so much more to unpack. Big gap. So when you're saying that, what is your initial thought when you heard that statement? I would like to know that. Can you let us know?
Yeah, I wish that she could jump on with us. I'd love to hear the story on this one. I'd like to hear his side, because I'll put big money down that when he jumps in and talks with our guys, he's actually probably further along than you guys would know. But a lot of times, and I've seen this too, I even have guys who were getting cheated on by their woman and being treated like garbage, who were good guys. They weren't cheating, they weren't doing anything wrong. And the therapist was still saying he's the bad one. When he's like, I'm just doing good dad stuff. I take care of the home. I do all the things. I'm a good protector. I'm doing the good stuff. She's cheating on me.
Yeah.
And I'm the bad guy. I'm not doing any of the bad stuff. And so sometimes I see therapists just gang up on the guy just to do it.
So Carrie, so she says, we both agree he's just starting the process and hopes I can stay patient.
That shows you're not patient.
But you just talked about emotional intelligence. Like if and I don't know your situation, but this is what I would challenge you to do. If you guys are working on things together and someone is let's turn the tables. Let's say you were him. If you can put yourself in that situation and he's like, you're just starting a journey. There's a big gap here. I don't know if I can stay patient with you. I don't know if I can do it. How would that make you feel?
Yeah, I'm way further ahead. And the therapist says I'm further ahead than you.
It doesn't feel kind. It doesn't feel empathetic. It doesn't feel or seem, it just doesn't seem kind. I can't even imagine us going to counseling. And we've had years ago, we went through and the therapist telling me he's just starting on his process. There's a big gap between you. For me as a woman and his partner,
the empathy aspect.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, you're going to lose them on this one.
Okay.
Switch it. Have me be further ahead and you're just starting your journey, because people will empathize more with you than me.
Yeah.
So you got to go off of the general norm. So if it was, I am so far ahead, and as a man, I am doing great, and maybe she can hope I stay patient with her on her journey as she begins her journey through the process, because I'm so much further ahead in my emotional intelligence than her. Let's hope I can stay patient while she grows.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Right. Yeah, I hear you. And Carrie, like I said at the very beginning, we don't know your situation. It could be just freaking train wreck and he's treated you so awful. We don't know, right?
Well, wait a second.
But Yeah.
becomes toxic for one person to absorb all the time. This is one of those things that you have a guy. I'm just going to tell you the number one thing for me to work with anybody, male or female, is what is your willingness to do the work? And if you have anybody who's willing to work, there's hope. But if you're saying it's toxic to absorb all the time, it shows your lack of emotional intelligence. You're making a judgment based on somebody who's willing to do the work, which then makes it so you can now cast a judgment that they are toxic when you are rejecting their efforts. That is not emotional intelligence to me. That looks like you're in the same place as him. You're not ahead. You're doing unhealthy behavior for a man who will fight for you. That's not it's not the win. That's not winning. I wouldn't look at that as like, she's so far ahead. You just said it's toxic for you to have to absorb that he's working through shit. To me, it shows a complete disconnect in empathy.
Well,
that guy has to work through something difficult. Is he willing to do it? He's going to multiple therapies for you. He looks like he's willing to do it.
well,
He's trying.
and I think that's it. If he's done things that have hurt you, or if he is that toxic person, people aren't toxic just to be toxic. Like, this guy is probably destroyed inside at some point. If it's coming out in a toxic way, like, we have to understand, or at least we don't have to understand, but at least have a little empathy to be like, shit, he's being an asshole, or whatever the judgment is. What is going on with my guy? He clearly is not okay. Right? So I just want to throw that out there, because it's in a relationship, right? You guys signed up to be this. Like, and again, we don't know all the details, Carrie. So we know it's a lot.
You said it isn't his choice. PTSD.
Oh.
Listen, I'll help your
Yeah.
guy with PTSD. If you're working with somebody who's just trying to validate feelings for someone who's working through PTSD, that's not going to help. I've helped a lot of guys, especially soldiers and veterans, beat PTSD.
Yes.
And I have a great team of people who I'm connected to, everything from Jason Steiner to the guys who are at 22-0.
Yeah.
I've got a huge group. Some of my guys in here, there's Tico. There's some of my guys who are Marines who have been through some shit. We can help him with PTSD, but the therapy doesn't work because my guys, especially my soldiers, were doing therapy for 15, 12, 18 years, and they're like, it didn't do anything. They just tried to put me on medication.
Yeah.
That doesn't fix it.
Mhm.
I had to beat PTSD, and a lot of my guys have to beat PTSD. And even still, the guys who are experts in neuro-linguistic programming that I know, they don't even call it PTSD. They just call it PTS. It's not a disorder because it's beatable. And we've beaten it. I've beaten it, and my men have beaten it. If you need him to plug in with actual guys who do the shit, I'll have him work on that. I'll get you a guy back. Now, you having this low level of patience and high amount of judgment, that's more concerning to me than a guy who has PTSD.
But I don't think I also, and I do have to like stick up for her a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit, because most people don't know how to handle that. How would you know, right? So you only see the reaction, you get the brunt of it, right? So I'm sure from your perspective, Carrie, like, it is overwhelming and frustrating, because we also, as just regular humans, don't know how would we know how to deal with it? We weren't trained to do this stuff.
Right.
But that's why you're saying, like, there are programs out there, and some are free, that can really help him, at least move him further along faster and be able to treat him of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My opinion on what therapists are doing right now, if they're already picking sides on a guy who's got PTSD,
No.
he's fucked. You and you're both fucked, and they're just going to validate you leaving, which is probably what a lot of women in here would be like. Swipe right, validate, get another one. And it's not really fighting for each other. And so this would be where you guys have to choose if you're going to do warrior talk or if you're doing damsel talk, and you get to decide. And it's not my judgment. It's just pick which one you're going to do. Like, whichever one you feel like that's you. But if he really wants to work through his shit and you guys are really committed to it, it's not just like it'd be a nice thing to do. We'll try this as our last effort, and then I'm already packing my bags. I'll show him how to do the real work. I have one spot left in this group that's starting for March. If
Mhm.
he's really serious and not bullshit, if he's serious, he'll find a way to make sure that he fits in the group. If he's not serious and he's kind of bullshit, because I got 4 other soldiers that are going to be in this group.
That's true. Yeah.
And so if he wants to be in here with guys who have worked through it and are working through it, I'll give him the spot. This is God reaching out. But if you guys are just saying so that you can have validation because you're more emotionally intelligent and don't really want to do the work, don't have them even reach out. You guys are already done. But if you guys are serious, put them in with me and I'll get you your guy back. You will have to learn new skills though. So if you're with somebody who just wants to validate you, that girl power, get yours hot girl summer or whatever the fuck is happening out there, it won't work anyways. But I still can get him back to being him again, because going from war to civilian life, it is a
I can't even
really,
imagine.
really difficult experience. And I've got a lot of guys who have done it. So if he really wants community to be able to do this, it's the only way I've seen it done.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, so here's the chance. Just go to the link in the top, book a call. For all you guys in here, just book a call. The call's free. Just book a call. You'll get to talk to Luke, who's one of my guys. He was in the Coast Guard, actually. So he's also gone through some really insane stuff on the open water. He's done some really difficult things. And so you'll get to hang out with the guys who have actually done real war. And I'll give you some men who have done the real work. And our guys are not dumb guys. We've got doctorates. We've got people who have written books. We've got guys who are experts in many fields, and we all band together. It is a very different experience. It's not like therapy or counseling. It's true warrior training. And together, it's way faster than
Well,
any of the therapy that's out there.
yeah, and there's a community of people. So, the men have access to each other pretty much 24/7. Like, it's a strong community. So, Carrie, if
Yeah.
you're still on and you guys are serious, definitely reach out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so have him reach out. I'll get you your dude back.
Yeah.
If he's serious, Carrie, if he's bullshit, he won't like me. But if he's serious, we'll put him through. But if he's just kicking the tires and he doesn't really care to do the work, which it looks like he's doing the work because he's
Mhm.
showing up to everything.
Yeah.
If he's serious, I'll give him the right way to do it. And we'll do it fast too. I'm talking about just a few months. Not like you got 5 more years of being patient. I'll give you the light at the end of the tunnel, but we have to rework his entire belief system to make it so he can be authentic again without having to get triggered into the things. And I can plug him into some guys that can even make it even like weeks. But he's got to do it. He's fear's beatable. We'll teach him how to do it. And it's not all at once. It's one thing at a time. It's no different than the training he had to do before. You don't learn everything in one day. You learn today is shooting. Today is how to wear the gear. Today is how to train for endurance. Today is how to overcome obstacles. You learn different skills and you put them all together. And so we'll teach him how to do his thing. It's not impossible. We've done it over and over again. So have him test us out. Like I said, challenge competency. Have him test it out. Like say it again. Your last. That's Artico. He's a Marine. He had to go through all this stuff too, and he had to work through PTSD with us also. Honey Badger. He had to work through PTSD with us also. Heck, still
Mhm.
triggers in.
But I think to your point, I shouldn't say so many, but there are resources out there. And like I said, that people you work with directly, that it's a free resource that is helping people. And so I think sometimes people don't know, especially, what we've learned about, soldiers being in the VA, like it is not as supportive as what you would imagine it to be.
They just medicate them.
Exactly. So the help is there, Carrie. So definitely reach out.
Yeah. Honey Badger. Yeah, Buck was just hanging out with us this weekend and got a chance to see what we look like and how we work in action. He's seen it happen in real time and how we handle difficult situations. So, Carrie, if you end up part of our pack, if your husband is like, I'm in, and he does the work and he gets that last spot in this group for March, we'll start this week and we'll start getting you your guy back. And our support system for our ladies is there too, because we've got the women all team up. Andrea's been making calls to keep our ladies on too, to make sure that they know how to handle when their guy actually does transformation. You will get a different dude back, which is what you want. But can you handle when you get a good, authentic, healthy man back? And a lot of times you think you want it, but you don't know how to relinquish control or surrender to a good man because you've had to be on guard for so long. You may not be able to see the transformation, even if it happened. which again is also triggering if you were doing way better and someone still kept calling you what you were 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, that's not me anymore. They're like, yeah, but you used to. If you don't have those tools, you'll still feel like you have PTSD, even though that
For
behavior
real.
is gone.
Yeah,
So we have to have a support for the family.
that's good.
But we'll get you a pack leader, one who protects his pack and doesn't attack his pack. We don't do that.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So I'm glad you brought that up. I wish
Yeah,
you were
good job,
able to jump
Carrie.
in with us so we could hear your story.
Yeah, but book a call at the top.
Yeah, go into our thing. I know that it'll say like, I don't know if this is a safe site. It just goes to our website. Just go in there, go to the thing, book a call. There's nothing bad that happens. It's just Google telling us they want money.
Yeah.
So click buttons, hit things, like stuff. So hopefully that's helpful. But I'm really glad you brought that up because our guys, we have a lot going on right now. And I do encourage our guys to book a free call. It's a big deal because we're growing very quickly and we have a very good leadership team of guys who have been through hell who will help find your guy and show him the way out.
Yeah.
And we also have a spot now, a free Discord area for our women, and the women are also teaming up too and finding other ways. And I have a very cool event going on coming up soon where I've got a few different people who are going to be teaching different classes or different skills for the ladies side also. So those will be opportunities. If you guys want to jump in the free group, there will be some classes that are coming up that are women can jump in with both men coaches and women coach at the same time. So there's future things coming up to support both sides. But our guys, the infrastructure is already built.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can you pass this on to him and we can really get this 6 on for whatever he's dealing with? Let's see. Oh, yeah. That's get his 6. That's all right, Tico. Yeah, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Christy, you're in the sisterhood. Tico's in the brotherhood. Yes. Chris is one of our leaders. And so you see the mechanic, he can reverse engineer anybody's situation. He's very intelligent.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's helpful. There's some really cool things happening here. We want to support you guys.
Yeah.
It is a Ticoism. All right.
That was good conversation.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you for sharing. I really do. And you guys are trying to do your best. I can see you both got a lot of pain in there. And I think acknowledging each other's hurt is actually an important thing. Odds are if he's getting really angry or he's panicking, it's hurt people that hurt people. And so odds are instead of saying like he's just an angry jerk, that's how he cries and he's really sad. And so it's the judgments over him doing things that are reckless and mean or scary when really he's just not okay. And those are the tough things for us to recognize because us guys get really intimidating when we're sad.
Mm-hmm.
That's really is. Anger is how we cry. And so that's a really big thing for us to be able to go, I'm so angry right now, when really we couldn't sit there and break down and cry hysterically because that's not sexy and that gets us rejected even worse. We're not safe. But being intimidating and scary can still give the illusion that we have some form of control, so don't fuck with us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually usually the opposite. Our hearts hurt really bad, especially when we hurt you. That makes us feel bad. Almost every guy I've talked to, if something happens where like I accidentally hurt her or we'll wrestle and I hurt her and she's like, I'm really hurt. And I'm like, I wasn't even trying to hurt you. And she's like, but I'm sad. And I'm like, get tougher.
Why are you so weak?
Why are you weak? Because you being hurt makes me feel bad.
And
so
your fault.
I feel bad because you're hurt, you're making me feel bad on purpose now. So I hate that you're making me feel bad. Get tougher so I don't feel bad. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But like, it's almost like, have any of you ever stepped on a dog before? Like stepped on a dog.
And then you get mad at the dog.
And then the dog yelps. You're like, get out of the way. What's wrong with you, stupid dog? And the dog's like, you stepped on me, jerk. He's like, yeah, you make me feel bad. He's like,
I live on the floor.
Yeah, you make me feel bad for hurting you. So stop making yelping noises. I hate that. That's the same thing.
It's so true.
I like dog.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so funny.
But we do that kind of stuff is when we hurt our people, we feel bad. And so we get mad at them for being hurt, even though we are the ones who are hurting from feeling, or for our feelings hurt for hurting their feelings. It's a funny system. We're silly creatures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, baby, it's date night, and I want some QT with you,
Yeah,
some quality
let's do it.
time. So I hope you guys will do some quality time with your people. If I can leave you ladies with something that's really difficult to think about, there's 3 stages for our girls to work on. And I'll leave you guys with this. For my men, reach out, book a call, and I'll give you all the pieces you need to be a healthy leader. And if you call my bullshit, please show up and check it out for yourself. See if I'm legit or not. You should challenge all of your gurus. For my ladies, I got 3 challenges for you, and they're the hardest ones for women to do. First one is having full accountability. Second, authenticity. Third, empathy, especially for your man.
Mhm.
If you can do these 3 things, you want to talk about what a real bad bitch is? That's the baddest of them all. A girl who can be accountable, authentic, and empathetic. That's a good woman.
Mhm.
And that's my stand on that one. It's not about having a business or being a CrossFit champion or a big booty. It's about, are you able to be accountable, authentic, and empathetic?
Mhm.
That's good value. That's a high values woman. For our guys, the list is 10 times longer, and it includes all of those. So if you guys want to do the real work, you're in the right place. And if you don't want to do the real work, go watch some funny video of somebody falling off of something.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I love you, baby.
Love you too.
Let's go ahead and get started. And I'll see
night,
you
you
guys
guys.
next Wednesday. So
Yeah.
be good.
Or else what?
Or else you're done forever.